So it's not about being cynical, but about being more aware and engaged with the world around us.
Exactly.
And if we really take a step back and think about all of this, it raises a huge question. In a world where manipulation...
Welcome to Book Haven.
All right, so today we're diving into some pretty heavy stuff. Propaganda Wars by Glenn Beck and Justin Haskins. Ever get the feeling like, maybe we're not just being informed, but kind of like molded by the information we're getting?
Well, that's exactly what this book is all about, right? It's this idea that there are these forces out there actively trying to shape what we want, what we believe even, like our values,
Yeah, exactly. And Beck and Haskins, they really don't hold back. They're talking about like a full-on effort to control us.
Right.
Through the media, through, well, everything, really.
Right. They talk a lot about controlling the narrative, like in the mainstream media, and using fear and emotion to kind of manipulate us. Oh, and then there's all that stuff about social media algorithms and how those are used to, influence what we see and how we think.
And that's the part that really got me thinking. Like, it's easy to just throw around the word propaganda, but like, where's the proof?
Yeah.
What actual evidence do they have?
Well, they get into some specifics. They talk about how certain events in history are presented or how economic policies are explained to the public. And they say it's not always about outright lies, but more about subtle framing and leaving out key facts to push us toward a certain way of thinking.
So are they saying there's some all-powerful group, like a secret society or something, controlling everything we see and hear? Or I get a little, I don't know.
Well, they definitely lean into this idea of global and corporate elites being the puppet masters. But it's not quite as simple as like a classic conspiracy theory. They talk about how powerful individuals and institutions, benefit from shaping public opinion and how they use their resources to do just that.
Okay, let's say, just for the sake of argument, that there's some truth to this whole thing. Then what's the point? Why go through all this trouble to manipulate us? What are they trying to achieve?
The book argues it's all about control, right? Maintaining the status quo, keeping certain economic systems and social structures in place, and ultimately ensuring that those at the top stay at the top.
And they're saying this is happening right now here in America, with all the division and anger we see everywhere.
Exactly. They argue that propaganda thrives on exploiting those divisions, those fault lines that already exist. It's about pushing us into these echo chambers where we only hear what we already agree with.
Yeah.
And anything that challenges that is just dismissed as fake news or enemy propaganda.
Right, and that leads us to this idea of forgotten facts that the book talks about. They say there's a deliberate attempt to bury certain truths that don't fit the narrative. But isn't there a danger of, seeing manipulation everywhere? How do we tell the difference between legitimate historical debate and deliberate distortion?
It's a good point, definitely a fine line there. But think about how certain economic crises, for example, are often blamed on individuals making bad choices, instead of looking at the bigger systemic issues. That kind of framing shifts the blame away from powerful institutions and puts it on individuals.
Right, so it's not about erasing history, but understanding whose voices are being heard and whose are being silenced.
Exactly.
Yeah. The book also spends a lot of time talking about young people today and how they seem to be, disillusioned with the country. Is that really just propaganda, or is there something more to it?
Well, propaganda might be playing a part, but we can't ignore the very real struggles that young people are facing, right? Economic stagnation, climate change, this crazy political landscape. These are all things that contribute to that sense of disillusionment.
And of course, this is all happening in the age of social media, with algorithms, deepfakes. How does technology play into this whole propaganda thing?
It's almost like a perfect storm, right? You've got AI spitting out tons of misleading content, making it even harder to separate truth from fiction. Deepfakes blurring the lines between what's real and what's not, and algorithms that are designed to keep us hooked end up trapping us in these echo chambers where our own biases are just amplified and reinforced.
So if we take what the authors are saying seriously, it's a pretty grim picture, right? Propaganda everywhere, driving us apart, and technology making it harder to even see what's real. So what can we, regular people, actually do about it?
Well, the first step is to become more critical thinkers. Question everything, especially the stuff that confirms what you already think. Look for different perspectives, even if they make you uncomfortable.
So it's not about being cynical, but about being more aware and engaged with the world around us.
Exactly.
And if we really take a step back and think about all of this, it raises a huge question. In a world where manipulation is so widespread, how much control do we actually have over our own thoughts and beliefs? That's something to think about. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive, and stay vigilant out there.
Keep those critical thinking skills sharp.
Grab Propaganda Wars by Glenn Beck, now on sale for just $20.34. Don't miss this chance to build good habits and achieve remarkable results. Click Buy Now today.
Like and subscribe for more Bookhaven podcasts.